All right, guys, so for this, we are going to need to know several different formulas for the questions we're being asked. Right off the bat, we are going to be working with slope-intercept. You'll also be working with your standard form. You're going to need to know rate of change. Those are going to be more of the important ones that we're working right off the bat. You'll need to know y equals mx plus b. You'll need to know ax plus by equals c. And more importantly, this applies to both. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Vamos a trabajar con estos tres fórmulas. Es importante saber estos tres. Y cómo se saca m, b. We know that with standard form we use 0. Número importante aquí es 0 para sustituirlo. To take out x, b, y, and c. And then right here, you need to know how to plot your points, know which one is x and which one is y to be able to get our rate of change. So for our first equation, we have a system of equations graphed on the grid, and it's asking us which system of equations is represented by the graph. Of these four, which ones are represented right here? So I know that my second number right here is my b. So I need to be able to plot b. So I know that this one is -3. I know that this one is -8. So from -3, which would be this one, I'm looking at my rate of change, which is m. This is my m. This is my m. 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 All these are my m. M is my rate of change, right? M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and b equals the y-intercept. Okay, so from here, it's telling me I need to go down 3 over 5. If I go down 3 over 5, I do not have a point here. So I know this answer is already incorrect just by following my rate of change from my first point. Right here, I have -3, and it's telling me go up 2 over 5. Up 2 over 5. So that one does work because it falls right on the line that's plotted. So if I start at -8, and then I go down 3 over 5, -8, down 3 over 5, I have another point plotted. This one falls right on both of my lines. This one's clearly the correct answer because with my y-intercept and my rate of change, they both fall on the lines that are represented. Question number 2. It's asking us a system of linear equations represented by line H and line J. This is line H, and clearly line J is already graphed for us. What we want to know is which system of equations is represented by line H and J. Again, I need to know how to plot my points, draw my graph out, and which of these correctly represents what I'm looking for. So right here, I'm going to use these as my points. This is my x, this is my y. So I'm going to -8 up 1. Here's my first point. My next one is -4, -2. -4, -2. Right here, I'll draw my line. And after drawing my line, it's asking me which system of equations represents line H, line J. This is J, this is H. So if I'm looking y equals mx plus b, I know this is my y-intercept again, y-intercept. I have to know that my first line J passes on +1, +1, +1, +1, +1. So all these are valid. Line H passes through -5, -5. So I know what I'm using here. If I go back to line J, which is on +1, and it's telling me I go up 4 over 5 because my m is my slope-intercept, up 4 over 5, I don't have anything here. This one's out. If I go up 5 over 4, same concept. Up 5 over 4, this one's out. This one's telling me I go down 4 over 5. So if I go down 4 over 5, ends right about here. So this one more or less is going to be out. And plus 1, I go down 5, left 4. So that one's not working for me either. So this one almost fell on my point. So let me double check this. Down 4 over 3. No, down 4 over 5. Down 4 over 5. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5. Now let's check my minus 5. Negative 5. And right here I'm going to go up 4 over 3. Up 4 over 3. That one doesn't work for me. Down, this one's going to be up 3 over 4. Up 3 over 4. This one's going to be down 4 over 3. Down 4 over 3. This one's going to be minus 5, down 3 over 4. So I'm going to stick with that one. Now question 3. Which graph best represents the system of equations and its solution? So right here, looking at my formula, I know that I'm working with standard form. Something x minus something y equals negative 16. When I'm working with my standard formula, I know that I'm working with 0, and I'm substituting. I'm going to substitute here, and 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 get my values. So 8x minus 4y equals negative 16. We're going to do the first one. I'm going to substitute 0 here the first time, and this will cancel out. I'm left with negative 4y equals negative 16. If I divide by negative 4, this gives me y equals 4. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing. 8x minus 4y equals negative 16. But this time, instead of substituting 0 for my x, I'm going to substitute it for my y. And these are going to cancel out. So I'm left with 8x equals negative 16. When I divide by 8, x equals negative 2. So I know my y is 4, and I know my x is negative 2. So I have to plot y4, x negative 2. This one doesn't fall on either of those. y4, x negative 2. So this one works. y4, x negative 2. This one doesn't work. And my last one, y4, x negative 2. This one doesn't work. So I know just by being able to take out my x and y for this one by substituting 0, this is already my correct answer. Every other one didn't have the plotted points fall correctly in with what my x and my y was. Now for number 4, you'll have a question like this. This one's telling us the line on the grid is the first of 2 equations. This is the first system of operations. The second one is telling me that it passes through these points. What I have to do is plot these points and get my line out. So I know this is my x, this is my y, okay? My x is negative 12, my y is 20. This would fall right here. Negative 12, 20. My next one is 4 and 12. 4, 12. Now, I'm going to have to draw my line out. And after drawing my line out, I have 4 options here for questions. And it's telling me which statement is true. Which of these is valid? The only solution to this system is 10 and 5. Well, looking at my graph here, is there a solution? We know that there are 3 types of solutions. One is one solution. One is no solution. The other one is infinite. Of my 3 options of this being 1, 2, 3, I know that parallel lines will mean that I always have no solution. Infinite means my two lines are crossing on top of each other. You have to know the difference between all three of these, okay? Now for question 5, it's asking me, what is the value of x? I need to know what x is in this solution, okay? So my goal is, what is x? I need to find out what x equals, right? Now for this one, we are doing what's called substitution. We've already gone over this in class. What I'm gonna do is get my y, because my problem is 3x minus 5y, and I'm plugging this whole operation right here into my y. Okay, so I'm gonna have my problem set up like this, 3x minus 5, parentheses, and I'm plugging in my whole operation for y. Negative 5x plus 32 equals 22, because after I close my parentheses, I still have equals 22. Okay, all I did was grab my y and substitute my whole operation for y into my equation, okay? When we work this out, we get 3x plus 25x minus 160 equals 22. What I did here was my distributive property, okay? Negative 5 times negative 5x gives me positive 25x. Negative 5 times positive 32, negative 160. Right here, I'm gonna combine like terms. I get 28x, because I combine this one and I combine this one. Right here, I'm gonna bring negative 160 over. And if I bring it to the other side of my symbol, I'm gonna add 160 to cancel it out. So my end equation is 28x equals 182. I'm isolating x. To get x alone, I divide because I'm multiplying. This cancels out. And x for me should equal 6.5. My answer. I need to know how to substitute for y, plug it into my y, and solve for x. I just solved for x, and I'm telling you that x is 6.5. For my next equation, we went over this in class briefly as well. We are basically going to need to know how to set up equations from a word problem, real life situations. In class, we use the operation of me buying pizzas and sodas for a class, knowing how much money I spent, how many items were purchased. This is the same concept. It's telling me a customer paid a total of $6 for 68 copies. Some of the copies were black and white, some were black and white, the rest were color, okay? $6 for 68 copies. It's telling me each black and white copy cost 8 cents. So my black was 8 cents, okay? My color was 0.15, okay? In total, I bought 68 copies, and all the black and all the color equals 68, okay? Now, I know that my black, which is 0.08 black, plus the 0.15 of the color has to equal $6. It's asking you which system of equations can be used to find B. I want to know how many black and white copies, and C, number of color copies were paid for. If I set these two equations up, I'm able to find out black copies plus colored copies equals $6. No, because black colored plus colored copies equals 68 copies, not $6. Black plus color equals 68. Yes. 0.08B. No, this one's 0.15B. So they got the color mixed up with the black. So again, black plus color equals $6. No. Black plus color equals 68. Yes. 0.08B plus 0.15C equals $6. I basically took a word problem and I made my equation out of it. Now I have a system of operations to work with. Another type of question you're going to see on this test is, which graph best represents a function with a domain of all real numbers less than or equal to 6? So before even looking at anything, I know I'm going to be working with a graph, but it's asking me for domain, all real numbers less than or equal to, okay, less than or equal to, we have to know what less than or equal to means, And we have to know that working with number 6. Domain less than or equal to 6. Now, if we look at our graphs, I know that I'm working with domain. So let's work domain. And I want to know the difference between domain and range. So I know domain is X, range is Y. It also said less than or equal to. Less than or equal to, when I'm working with my graphs, I know that I have my my dots. So we know that my dot filled in, and then I have options of dots not filled in. Remember that a dot filled in is always going to be less than or equal to. A dot not filled in is just less than, can be greater than, okay? You're going to have to know the difference between those two. We also know that we're working with number 6. So if I'm working with domain, has to be less than or equal to, and it has to be 6. One by one, I'm going to start knocking these off. Letter A, is my X 6? Yes. Is it less than or equal to? Yes. 6, less than or equal to because it's filled in, and it goes backwards. So this one's an option. If I'm working with domain and 6, my domain for 6 would fall over here. What it's telling me right here is my range is 6. Range is Y, right? We're not working with Y. So I know that this one is incorrect. Now for C, I'm also working with domain 6. This falls on domain. Here's my domain 6. My point falls on 6. But on this one, we are going greater than, because if a line goes up, it's positive. That means I'm eating out this way. This one is incorrect because I need less than. So option C is incorrect. And again, option D right here, this one doesn't give us the correct thing because we are looking at range being 6. My domain needs to be 6. So if I know how to mark my domain and I know that I'm looking for less than or equal to, I automatically know that this one would be my correct response. Next question. It's going to be asking you for slope intercept. So let's read our question, and it's pretty much telling us what is the equation in slope intercept form. So right here, we're looking at the slope intercept. We know that slope intercept equals y equals mx plus b. And it's telling us these points pass through negative 4, 2, and 12, and 6. So I need to know how to distinguish x and y, and which ones are my y1s, y2s. X, y, x, y. And I'm going to mark my first set of 1s, my second set of 2s. So I know in slope intercept, I need to be able to find my m and my b and plug it in, okay? First thing I'm going to do is set up my m formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If I start grabbing my numbers and I plug them in, I should have 6 minus 2 over 12 minus negative 4. 12 minus negative 4, which in turn equals 4 over 16. And if I simplify that, I'm down to 1/4 or 0.25, okay? Simplify. You have to know that 1/4 is 0.25, okay? Having found m, this being my m, I'm already able to distinguish that C and D are not valid answers because these would be 4 over 1, not 1 over 4. So C and D are already out. Now what I'm going to do is grab my m and I'm going to plug it into my formula of y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to substitute one of my coordinates into y and x. So I have y equals 0.25x plus b. And then I'm going to say I would rather work with, can do either one. Let's try, we'll do 6 and 12. So my y will be 6. My x will be 12. And now I'm solving for b. So right here, this is multiplication. 6 equals 1/4 of 12 is 3 plus b. I need to isolate b. So I'm going to subtract 3. This cancels out. 3 equals b. So I was able to find my m. I already know this is m, and I already know this is b. All I'm going to do is plug in my m and my b into my equation to put in slope intercept. Y equals 0.25x plus 3. which of these left equals my answer? Clearly my answer is A, okay? That's how we do slope-intercept. I find my M. Once I find my M, I solve for my B, okay? Next question, it's gonna be asking us for graph of a line is shown on the grid. The coordinates of both points indicated on the graph are integers. So I have my graph, and I have my points right here and right here. And I'm just gonna mark my coordinates just so I know what I'm working with. So this one is gonna be -3, 5. -3 is my X, 5 is my Y. And for this one, my X falls on 9 and -5. Okay, so those are my coordinates that I'm gonna be working with. My question here is, what is the rate of change? Okay, so rate of change, we know we're looking for slope. And if I'm trying to solve for slope, I know that my formula for rate of change is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, we already discussed this. I already know what coordinates I'm using. And if I'm using this formula, all I'm gonna do is mark my x and my y's. And I'm gonna distinguish which one is 1 and which one is 2. And all I'm gonna do is plug them into my formula. -5 minus 5, -5 minus 5 over 9 minus -3. That gives me -10 over 12. How do I get 12? 9 minus -3, we end up adding right here. So -10 over 12. If I simplify this, I end up with -5 over 6. For responses, -5 over 6. All I did, rate of change. It's my only answer. From here, I do not plug into slope-intercept, okay? Here's another example. We have a table. We have to view this table as coordinates, just like we did on the last one. Coordinates, coordinates, coordinates. My question is, what is the rate of change? Like last problem, rate of change. I know what my formula is, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug in. Now, right here, you can use whichever order you want. I'm gonna stick with the first one, it just seems easier. So I'm going to go 3 minus 12 over 0 minus -2. That would give me -9 over 2. Why 2? Because 0 minus -2, this ends up being adding because we have two negatives together. -9 over 2 is what my M equals. M equals -9 over 2. I have 4 options for answers, and I didn't have to simplify because my answer's already right there. So, next question, we're almost done here. Question is asking us, which graph represents a system of equations that has no solution? You have to know how many options there are for solutions. Everybody should know that we have 3. I'm looking for no solution. This one I won't give you an answer, I won't help you out with, because out of the 3 options, you need to know what one solution looks like. One solution. You should know what no solution looks like. And you should know what infinite solution looks like. If you know what those look like, you should be able to, just by looking at these graphs, say, that has that solution, that has that solution, that has that solution, and that has the solution. Which of my answers is no solution? And I'll leave it at that. Number 12 and 13. So these are questions from previous tests. What we are doing here is combining like terms using distributive property if need be. So what I need to know is like terms. My RTs, I'm gonna throw in boxes. RTs. My RWs, I'll throw in circles. And my TWs, I'll just throw underlines. Now I'm gonna follow my main symbol right here, which is plus. Okay, so if I'm adding, all I'm doing is taking my symbols and I'm connecting them. 5RT, 6RT. I'm not gonna do it for you. You should know how to do this. -3RW plus -4RW. negative 8 TW plus positive 2 TW. Which of the four is your correct answer? And the last one is which expression is equivalent to. You need to know how to use your distributive property and find out which one of these four gives us this correct answer. So when I just use distributive property, I'm multiplying like this. You need to know how to multiply like this. Follow your correct symbols and make sure the first one gives us negative 28. Second one gives us positive 36. Which of these is going to be correct? If you're struggling with these, you can use the previous video to find your answers. Previous video went over slope-intercept. It also went over rate of change, and we even had more problems similar to this. And I'll include that as well so you can view both.